Unique in the sense of, kind of obviously the way the season ended last year is not something you ever want to get used to. But we've had 2 or 3 years now where we've had to incorporate 20 plus new guys on the roster. 1 year went really well. Another year, they're a lot younger last year. I think that's the biggest difference, and I think that's kind of the theme we wanted to get more experience, a little bit older in the off season. Just kind of early returns, just being around this group. A lot of guys a lot more comfortable in their own skin, just a little bit older. Got some JUCO transfers that have meshed really well, and so it'll be fun to kind of see the competition.
With the way you had to put this roster together, I mean, a lot of guys didn't visit before they committed and enrolled. I mean, how's it kind of been getting to know this team so far?
Yeah, and again, we had some of that too during the COVID year where we had the dead period where we met guys for the first time. So it's a little bit like that. But yeah, like I said, I mean, some of these guys we may have had a kind of a tie with, maybe previously at some other stops, or some Texans, some guys that maybe we had a previous relationship with. And but yeah, just kind of getting to know some of the guys and hearing their stories and again, maybe for the first time at the first day that they showed up was maybe a little bit different, but again, we've done it before during that dead period time.
Did you see taking this many guys at the beginning of the summer?
Yeah, we did. I mean, we knew we needed to. We weren't going to sit around and just kind of hope it got better. We were going to make sure that we tried to identify the guys that we needed to bring back that were, going to be the type of player we're looking for, and then guys coming in. We just need to ramp the competition level up and just make sure that there's no complacency where anybody feels like they've got a position safely in hand. We need to make sure that we're ready to compete for it every day.
What sort of qualities were you looking for this summer, when evaluating batters and pitchers?
Yeah, I mean, again, the experience piece was a big part of it. It's never good to be young in college baseball, but today's day and age with a portal and we still have some of the COVID exemption guys, like the average age is as high as it's ever been. So that was definitely a big piece of it, was the experience part. See heavy on the junior college transfer. My entire staff has spent time in junior college. Kind of see the value there. You get the experience, number one. You also get guys with a chip on their shoulder, and they typically mesh well with the way that we coach because they love the game. They love to play. If you don't love to play, junior college definitely is not the place for you.
I know it's only first practice, but how is that? Those experienced guys that transferred in, how have they already shown their impact so far?
Yeah, I just think they don't. There's just no. Dipping their toe in, I guess. You're just a lot more comfortable when you're older. You're just more comfortable in your own skin. You don't maybe take yourself as seriously as you did, when you were 18 or 19 years old. And again, just being able to kind of be themselves. I think that's the biggest part. If you can be yourself and as a student athlete, you have a chance to have your talent shine through. And so far, so good there. We just got started there.
What about with some of those younger guys? How do you anticipate them meshing well with guys coming in from the JUCO level and your older guys?
Yeah, the good thing is we had some of our freshmen. They went off and played in college summer leagues. A couple of them, Carey did. Hayden Lewis went off and played, college summer ball. Had the rest of some of the young guys here for summer bridge. We had the Cal Perrys and the Jake Bunches, the Shea Shannemans. Those guys were all here this summer, so they were able to get acclimated with the guys and really just getting that experience right away. It's not as big a class of freshmen. I think we had 18 freshmen last year, so it's a smaller group of freshmen, and they've done a really nice job of just diving in head first.
Obviously, it's the first day, right? But what is your overarching goal or hope that you can accomplish this fall?
I just want to see the show up every day and compete mentality that we need to see, and I think you will get that organically with this group because of the numbers that we have, and also just you guys can look around and they can see like, man, I better bring it today or else somebody else is going to be ready to kind of push me for my job. So that's really, it's the urgency. I want to feel the urgency. I want to see guys show up with that urgency to be a championship caliber team. Again, you're going to make plenty of mistakes. You're not going to be that on day one, but can you have that championship type urgency? That's what we want to see.
How do you balance the urgency?
Piece.
Sorry, go
You
ahead.
went after a lot of veteran rotation pieces
Yep.
over the summer. But how important was it to get Kyle and Shea back as well?
Yeah, obviously you don't want to have KP back based on an injury, but he's been through it before. He's got a great attitude. Maybe you see a guy like him and Shea take on a different role this year. I know Shea's talked about, and we've talked to him about potentially being a bullpen piece for this team. Hopefully that means we're good enough at the front of games, and hopefully some of those transfers that we've brought in, some of the younger guys in our program that have gotten better, can push for those weekend spots. So you can use a Shea, you can use a Perry. I don't know. I think those guys they like to wear their spikes every day. They kind of have that everyday mentality, and I think maybe that'll suit them a little bit better. Their frame of mind just to kind of be in that everyday mentality as a bullpen guy. But having those guys back, I never would have guessed it before the year last year. You could throw Everett in that group as well. Having those fifth-year guys back, it is. We saw it a couple of years ago how important it is.
Do you plan on training Shea right away in the bullpen, or is it kind of a wait and see thing?
No, he's definitely going to kind of trend to be more of a shorter stint guy. He's been working really hard on his own this summer, continue to develop some other pitches that he can use as weapons out of the bullpen. He's eager to do it. He'll do whatever we ask him to do, but right now the plan is to kind of see him in that mode where you use him a couple times a week.
How do you balance the urgency of this fall and the guys that there's going to be 7 guys who don't come back on this team in the spring with the fact that there's a bunch of new guys and there needs to be chemistry that is.
Yeah, I think when you work really hard, you tend to have good chemistry because you go through some shared sacrifice together a little bit, and when you show up and put sweat in the bucket like you're supposed to at practice, you kind of look around and everybody just kind of feeds off of that. So I don't think anybody's looking at it in terms of the what if not, one of the last men standing. I think that stuff plays itself out. There's injuries that happen. There's other things that come into play. Coming to work every day, putting the sweat in the bucket, I think that chemistry kind of evolves naturally that way.
Do you have guys that are limited or out in the fall that you know now?
Yeah, we'll have KP, obviously. Perry will be out for the fall. Buns won't be ready. Ornelas will be out for the fall. He's just nothing, just precautionary a little bit with him. He pitched this summer. No need to push it with him. Right now, those are the main guys.
Do you have leadership in the locker room, Coach, or is that developing in the fall?
It's developing, and like I said, you've got a group of guys that I think there's 11 on the roster that won a championship a couple of years ago. They're all incredibly determined to get back to that level of play. Nobody wants to see, the kind of the level of play that we had last year at times, and so we got 3 of the 4 captains back. Guys that were captains last year doesn't mean they're going to be this year, but all those guys that have returned, their care factor is really, really high, and now it's just a matter of understanding that, hey, to be a leader, sometimes you got to get a bit uncomfortable, and if you see some things that need to get handled, then handle it. So I look forward to seeing kind of how that plays out throughout the fall.
Emotion-wise, day one, you've talked about the sense of urgency amongst you and this team, but what else are you guys feeling right now?
That's really it. I told the team, it's our first day of practice, but there's not really much that needs to change. I think the message has always been very similar since we've been here. Is like, just use today as a day to get a little bit better than we were yesterday. And that urgency was here, guys showing up voluntarily this summer when they were done playing, getting to know each other, working really hard in the weight room and conditioning so far. And just get a little bit better today at practice and continue to show that urgency and do what it takes.
Other than maybe effort, what does a guy need to show you this fall that he's ready for that roster in the spring?
Well, obviously effort that's just kind of the price of admission, I guess. You got to be able to hit high-level pitching as an offensive player. And we've got some guys that throw that have some velocity on this year's staff. So handling the best velocity is obviously a big deal, and being versatile. I think just if you can play multiple positions, that helps out. You kind of look at it like a big league club too. If you got a guy that can play 3 or 4 different defensive positions, he makes himself, pretty indispensable. So, guys that can consistently barrel the ball up, and if you can play premium defense into a couple different spots, that helps.
What was kind of the experience with the portal this summer like for you guys? It seemed like it was, at least around college baseball, kind of ramped up even more than maybe what it had been in the past.
Yeah, like 4,000 names, I believe, in the portal. So I unfortunately haven't heard the statistics on, how many are still out there. You don't really get that feel looking at the portal today, but yeah, I mean it was like reading the ticker on the bottom of SportsCenter. I mean, it's just like guys' names were popping up. We're looking at their video. As soon as that happens, we're getting on the phone, we're making calls. Hey, do you know this guy? It was a whole nother beast, in and of itself. And we knew we needed to go to the portal to get some more experience. And I think that's just the way it goes now. I just think that you've got guys that have proven it in Division I, and it's just a lot easier to bet on that than it is, hoping a young guy is going to figure it out at times. So I think you got to have a balance of both. I definitely don't want to make a habit of, bringing in 15 portal guys a year. I don't think that's a right number, but I think you need to plug in some holes with some of those guys that have done it at a high level.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet. Thank you, guys.